heated exchange on Capitol Hill between Postmaster General Louis DeJoy and Massachusetts Congressman Stephen Lynch over changes to the Postal Service ahead of Election Day.
In my heart, I'm tempted to ask, after 240 years of patriotic service delivering the mail, how can one person screw this up in just a few weeks? Will you put the machines back?
I'm very proud to lead the organization. The rest of your accusations are actually
Will you put the high-speed machines back?
No, I will not.
You will not?
Will not.
You will not. Well, there you go.
The Postmaster General has said he will stop any further changes to the Postal Service until after Election Day. CBSN Boston's Breana spoke with Congressman Lynch today about his biggest concerns involving mail-in ballots.
These machines are, they're called DBCS machines. They're delivery barcode sorting machines. So what they do is they process about 32,000 pieces of mail per hour. So as your mail comes in, it actually sorts it for the letter carrier, so that each little bundle of mail allows the letter carrier to go from house to house down the street rather than, jumping back and forth or trying to sort it out themselves. So it has allowed the use of these high-speed machines since the early 90s has allowed the post office to reduce their workforce by 100,000 people because the agreement was that people would retire, they would not be replaced because they would not be needed because of the fact that these machines are so efficient. And so these are the machines so there are 6 of them at the South Boston facility at South Station, the GMF there. Think about that. So I talked to the crews that work the machines, and they tell me that on an average shift, an average tour, the postal workers will sort around 120,000 pieces of mail during their shift, during their tour. So think about that, 6 machines gone. There are 3 tours. There's, they work 24 hours a day at the post office. So it's a considerable reduction in the volume of mail that can be sorted. They've also taken out, I went down to Brockton and met with my letter carriers, my mail handlers, and my postal workers down there as well. They've taken 2 machines out of the Brockton facility on Commercial Street, which also services Rhode Island. It's just the way the mail distribution center is set up. But so that would affect Rhode Island as well. But they tell me unanimously, all of them, that there's no way they can process the mails without those machines. They just do not have the people. And to do it by hand, you'd have to know the whole scheme, the whole postal scheme. And people haven't been doing that because they've been using the machines. So the mail is piling up. And they're saying that right now, well, as of last week when I was at the postal facility in Brockton and in Boston, they're saying that the average delivery time used to be like 2.3 days. So in a couple of days, you'd get your mail. Now, already, it's gone to 5 days in some cases. And with the surge of ballots coming in, they're concerned that they will not be able to keep up and that mail will continue to pile up on the platform, which was never allowed before. Before, they would send out someone with a truck on overtime to deliver the mail if there was an amount of mail that was left behind because they wanted to meet that 2-day deadline. Now it's a much different circumstance, and I'm fearful that it will impact Americans' right to vote.
Well, the Postmaster General said that he's not going to return the 671 mail sorting machines recently removed from service. Are there any legal options that are available to maybe get them back in service?
We're exploring those. However, the problem, Breana, is that if we go into court, we're going to be there for a while. And look, I'm 7 days away from the Democratic primary in Massachusetts. We're 70 days away from the final election in November. We could easily burn a lot of time in court. I think the optimum situation is to put enough pressure on the president and on the Postmaster General to get them to change their decision here. I am happy to hear from my postal workers that they are working nonstop to make sure that this mail gets delivered. So they are redoubling their efforts. I've heard stories of letter carriers who have put mail in their personal cars in order to get it delivered, because they won't allow them to use the truck. So I'm happy and proud that our letter carriers, our postal workers, and our mail handlers are all saying, come hell or high water, we're going to try to deliver this mail. I just wish they had the support of the Postmaster General.
Well, the Postmaster General, he insists that his #1 priority is to ensure the election mail arrives on time. I mean, do you believe him? We saw your exchange with him the other day, but I'll let you answer that question. Do you believe him?
Well, why would you? Okay, so we're in the middle of a pandemic, and the CDC is telling people avoid outside contact, avoid standing in line waiting to vote, right, at your polling place, avoid exposing yourself to the pandemic. So you're in the middle of that situation, and then the Postmaster General decides, okay, I'm going to pull out the high-speed machines so we can't sort these and deliver them as quickly as possible. And on top of that, you get the president's own comments. He's saying that he refused to allow the $25 billion that the House had voted on to help the post office in this situation and delivering the mail with the anticipation of the election directly ahead. And he said he doesn't want to fund the post office because they'll use it for vote by mail. He was honest. He eventually reversed himself. He changed his mind when people called him out on that. But that's his attitude. And I see the conduct of the Postmaster General is consistent with that thinking. So no, I don't trust him. I think if we had an opportunity, I would encourage him to resign. But then again, we will end up with a post office without any leadership, without a Postmaster General. I'm not confident that President Trump would appoint anyone more fit. This gentleman was the fundraiser for the president and the RNC. That was his qualification. He raised money for the president, gave him $1 million. So Lord knows who the president will pick to replace him if we do encourage him to resign. That may put us in a worse position where you have a post office with no leadership, no Postmaster General. Again, the optimum situation is to have him reverse his decision, put the machines back in, and encourage the postal workers to deliver the mail.
Well, what are you recommending to your constituents to make sure that their vote is counted in next week's primary and the November election?
Vote now. Vote now. I can't tell them to vote yesterday, but I tell them to vote now as quickly as possible. Get your vote in, and we'll try to make sure that it gets counted.
A reminder that mail-in voting applications are due by tomorrow, and early in-person voting is open through Friday. A primary day 1 week from today is Tuesday, September 1st.